It was Sunday. The kind of Sunday I used to dream of before I met Sarah. Quiet, slow, smells of meat and cinnamon in the air. I'd prepped the roast the night before, rubbed it with garlic and rosemary, seared it before noon. The kitchen felt like mine then, like I belonged. The table was set. I always did that part. Emily used to help, back when she still believed in what we were building. She'd fold the napkins, light the candles. Not tonight. Tonight she ate early, alone, and retreated upstairs before the rest of them showed up. Smart girl. She'd learned faster than I did. Jake and Lucas rolled in like they owned the place, which in a way they did. I paid the bills, but they controlled the air. Lucas flopped onto a chair with his phone practically fused to his hand. Jake muttered something about how the car was low on gas. No thanks for last week's new tires. No nod for the insurance I covered. Just an expectation, an assumption, that I would always be there just outside the frame funding their story. Sarah came down last. She'd done her makeup, which meant she cared how the evening looked. Not how it felt. Not how I felt. Just the optics. The food hit the table. Forks clinked. Nobody spoke at first. Then, like a drip from a cracked ceiling, it came. Lucas glanced up from his phone, not at me. Through me. Don't worry. He'll be gone soon anyway. That was all. 7 words. Soft. Casual. Practiced. His tone was flat, but the smirk gave him away. Jake laughed through his nose. One of those high, mean sounds that doesn't carry joy, just judgment. Sarah didn't say a word. Her hand just kept slicing the pie like it was the only real thing in the room. I didn't flinch. Not outside. Inside, it was the final shovel of dirt on a grave I'd spent 5 years trying not to admit existed. I pulled out my phone. No performance. No grand gesture. Just quiet finality. I canceled the rent first. Lease was in my name. Then the internet, my email, my bank, my card. Their phones? Click, click, gone. Insurance for the car Jake drove like he earned it? Canceled. I didn't speak a word. Then I stood, walked over to the oven, pulled out the roast. Still steaming, still beautiful, and slid it into the fridge. Nobody else ate. And I sat back down, empty plate, full heart. Not with joy, but with certainty. They didn't look at me. Not really. Jake glanced once, then back at his plate. Lucas started texting, probably already writing me out of the group chat like some irrelevant substitute teacher. I was done. My name's Jack. I'm 45. When I moved to Indianapolis, I believed I was building something. Sarah had 2 sons, Lucas, the older one, 17 now, sharp tongue and dull eyes. And Jake, 15, still thin with a voice trying to deepen. Their dad had bailed years ago, moved states, married someone new, called on birthdays if he remembered, sent checks when he felt guilty. Me? I showed up. Every day. When the pipes burst in the basement, I fixed them. When Lucas shattered his phone screen, I replaced it. I learned their favorite meals, sat through school concerts, soccer games, orthodontist appointments, covered the bills, covered for their father. I thought presents would earn me place. I was wrong. In 5 years, they never called me Dad. Hell, they barely called me by name. Just him when I wasn't in the room. Mom's boyfriend when I was. Once, I found a sticky note on the microwave that said, temporary. The handwriting was Jake's. I recognized the jagged S. I didn't say anything, just peeled it off and tossed it. 2 days later, another note showed up. On the bathroom mirror. Different handwriting. Lucas this time. So yeah, it wasn't a phase. It wasn't teenage mood swings. It was a message. Repeated. Reinforced. Final. Sarah? She laughed it off. They're just boys, she'd say. They're adjusting. It's hard for them. 5 years. That's a long adjustment. I never met their father. Not once. He never came to the door, never shook my hand. His name came up only when it served a purpose, when a punishment was too harsh or a rule too firm. That's when Lucas would say it. My real dad wouldn't care. Jake liked to copy him. That's how they bonded. Mocking the man who kept the lights on. I tried. God, I tried. I bought Christmas trees too early in November just to make traditions. Took them camping when I hate bugs. Sat through superhero movies I didn't understand just to laugh with them. For a while, I thought I was getting through. Jake smiled once. Actually smiled when I fixed up his bike for his birthday. Lucas almost called me Jay. Once, like he'd considered my name, but it faded. And then it rotted. Sarah's silence didn't help. When they mocked me at dinner, she'd sigh, not at them. At me. Like I was the problem for not being patient enough. Like I hadn't earned exhaustion. I watched her treat them like glass. Delicate, fragile, precious. And me? I was the scaffolding. Replaceable. So when Lucas said those 7 words, I didn't argue. I just acted. That dinner. I remember the smells, the warmth of the plates, the way the light hit the kitchen wall. Everything about it was beautiful. Except the people. I remember thinking, this is the last meal I'll ever cook for them. Because there comes a moment, not dramatic, not violent, when you simply stop waiting. Not out of hate. Out of clarity. They never saw me. So I made myself invisible. Financially, logistically, practically. Lucas asked something about dessert. I didn't answer. Just got up. Took the pie, slid it back into the fridge. Turned off the lights in the dining room. Left them sitting there in the dimness they created. Later that night, I passed the living room. Jake was on the couch trying to connect to the internet. He muttered something about the Wi-Fi being down. Lucas snapped at him to fix it. Neither of them asked me. Because they knew. I walked past without a word. And in that silence, I felt peace for the first time in years. Emily came down the stairs while I was washing the last glass from dinner. She didn't say anything at first. Just stood there in the archway, one hand on the frame, her eyes already heavy with knowing. I heard what Lucas said, she whispered. I didn't turn. The water ran hot over my hands. I scrubbed the edge of the plate like it owed me an apology. Are we leaving? She asked. I looked at her reflection in the window above the sink. 13 years old. Small shoulders. Big eyes. Brave without making a show of it. She used to be loud, wild with curiosity, asking questions I could barely keep up with. Now, she barely spoke. Shrunk herself to survive the weight of that house. I dried my hands. Nodded. Pack light, I said. It wasn't a threat. It wasn't some dramatic flinch in response to disrespect. It was simply the end. And endings, I've learned, are often quiet. We moved like ghosts that night. I folded 3 shirts, 2 pairs of jeans, grabbed my shaving kit, the laptop, a photo of Emily as a toddler that I kept tucked behind a row of books in my nightstand. She packed faster. She'd been ready. I passed by Sarah's room on my way to the stairs. She was brushing her hair in the mirror, like it was any other night. She didn't ask where I was going. Didn't say a word. I stopped in the doorway. They're not kids anymore, I said. She paused. Her brush slowed, but still silence. They're cruel, I added. And you let them be. Nothing. So I walked. I didn't slam the door. I didn't yell. The boys didn't even look up from their screens as I left. Lucas was on the couch, a game controller in hand. Jake was scrolling something. The internet was still down, but they hadn't figured out why. I let the screen door hiss closed behind us. The air outside was sharp, honest. We got in the truck and drove. Not far, just far enough to breathe. Emily curled up in the passenger seat, backpack in her lap. She didn't cry. She looked out the window like she was watching a world peel off behind us. One where she never quite belonged. Will she come after us? She asked. Maybe, I said, but only when it's already too late. We pulled into a hotel off Route 37. Cheap, clean enough. 2 beds. 1 working lamp. I paid in cash. That felt important somehow, like cutting a final chord. I stood by the window while Emily unpacked a book, plugged in her phone. She said I didn't live there, she murmured. I turned. Lucas. He told me not to get comfortable, she continued. Said it wasn't my real house. That you and Sarah would break up, and I'd be gone anyway. I sat on the edge of the bed. When was this? First year. That was 4 years ago. I felt something burn in my gut. Not rage. Not sadness. Something worse. The slow realization that I had let it happen. That while I was out buying groceries, fixing toilets, paying for birthdays and braces and gas money, she was being exiled. Silently. Repeatedly. You should have told me, I said. She shrugged. I didn't want to make things worse. And there it was, the logic of a child trying to protect the adult who was supposed to be protecting her. I lay back on the bed, hands behind my head, staring at the cracked ceiling like it might collapse. Maybe I hoped it would. You didn't make things worse, I said. They did. Silence for a long while. Then, are we going back? I looked at her. No, we're going forward. The apartment came fast. Week-to-week rental. Second floor. Small kitchen, older building, windows that stuck in the tracks. But the sun came in clean, and nobody sighed when I walked through the door. That was enough. Emily chose the curtains, dark green, heavy fabric. She said it made the place feel quiet. I agreed. We put her pictures up above the bed. Got a little desk from a thrift store, sanded it down, painted it together. In the kitchen, 1 table, 2 chairs, 2 mugs, 1 red, 1 chipped white. Just ours. I canceled the last standing bills from the old house. Sarah texted me once, short, clipped. Are you okay? I didn't reply. What was there to say? I'd spent 5 years keeping everything afloat, and she let her sons throw rocks at my head while she stood by with her arms crossed. When the tuition bills came, when the insurance lapsed, when the phone plan stopped working, then she started calling. I let it go to voicemail. 2 months passed. Peace came not like a reward, but like a quiet visitor, patient, slow. Emily laughed again. We started making pancakes on Saturdays. Walked the grocery aisles without tension. At dinner, she spoke. She told me about a girl at school who liked the same books. About how her science teacher reminded her of a cartoon character. She was becoming someone again, not just surviving. Then one night, a knock on the door. I opened it. Sarah. She looked wrecked. Messy bun, tired eyes, sweatshirt too big. She hadn't worn makeup. Not like her. No performance this time. They need you, she said. I didn't reply. She stepped forward, slow. Lucas is working nights at a warehouse. Jake dropped out. He got a job delivering pizzas. They're flailing. I can't cover everything. I thought you'd. She stopped. I thought I'd what? I asked. Her eyes flicked up to mine. Red. Tired. But not sorry. Just scared. Help. Come back. Fix it. I stared at her for a long time. You never told them I mattered, I said. You let them treat me like an intruder. And now that the lights are off, you want the generator back. She looked down. I didn't know what to do, she said. I was trying to protect them. You protected them from responsibility, I said. From consequences. From respect. She wiped at her face, then looked past me into the apartment, the small table, the soft light, the sound of Emily laughing at a video in the other room. I miss this, Sarah said. I nodded. But I don't. The door clicked shut. Sarah didn't knock again. Not for a while. I think she understood not just the choice I made, but the kind of man I'd become by making it. But the messages started. Voicemails, texts, all short at first. We need to talk. Jake's car is acting up. Lucas got a speeding ticket. Then longer. I know it wasn't fair. They're just boys. They didn't understand what they were doing. And eventually, I'm drowning. Please, Jack. I didn't reply, because I had nothing left to give. It's not that I hated them. Hate takes energy. What I felt was quieter. Like a room after a fire's gone out. No more warmth. No more light. Just ash. Emily and I had built something new. Small, yes, but honest. That was more than I ever had under Sarah's roof. We got into a rhythm. Mornings with coffee and toast. Evenings with a book or a movie. Nothing playing loud. Emily started leaving her door open again. Her laughter returned. At dinner, she set her own place. Her own fork. Her own stories. We made up our own family from what was left. And then, one afternoon, she said something that froze me. We were driving home from the grocery store. A soft rain tapped against the windshield. She stared out the window and said, "It's quiet here, but it's good quiet, like I can finally hear myself think." I said nothing, just gripped the wheel tighter. "And it's ours," she added. "Nobody makes me feel like a guest." That one landed deep, because I remembered every night in that old house, her plate pushed to the corner, her voice drowned out at the table, the way Lucas would talk over her, how Jake would sigh when she tried to share. She'd shrink. I saw it every night, and I let it happen, thinking I could fix it all with one more gesture, one more meal, one more paid bill. I thought presence would prove permanence. But permanence means nothing in a house that doesn't want you. 3 weeks after Sarah's visit, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. I ignored it. A minute later, a voicemail appeared. It was Lucas. He didn't say hello, didn't say my name, just this: "I messed up. I can't pay rent. Mom's car broke down, and I can't get to work. We're struggling. I just thought you should know." Click. No apology. No. "I'm sorry for what I said. No, I didn't mean it." Just the bare facts, delivered like a weather report. Cloudy with a chance of eviction. I deleted it. That same night, I found an envelope on the floor outside our apartment door. No stamp, no name, just slipped under, quiet and desperate. Inside, a note: "We need help. I don't know what to do. S." It wasn't Sarah's handwriting. It was shakier, smaller. I knew it before I finished the first sentence. "Jake." I handed it to Emily. She read it, then looked up at me. "Are we going to help them?" Her voice was steady, neutral. I took the note, ripped it in half, then into quarters. "No," I said. "Okay," she replied, and we never spoke of it again. The next part of the story didn't come from a message or a knock. It came from a woman at the grocery store. I was picking out apples when I heard my name. "Jack." I turned. It was Laura, a neighbor from the old block. We used to wave across driveways, traded holiday cookies once. "I heard you left," she said. "Is everything okay?" I nodded. She hesitated, then added, "I saw Sarah last week. She looked rough." I didn't respond. She said Lucas dropped out of work. Something about panic attacks. And Jake's not in school anymore. Said they were having a hard time. Didn't mention you. "Why would she?" I said. Laura looked uncomfortable, like she wanted to pry but knew better. "Well," she said, fumbling for words, "if you ever need anything, I don't." She smiled, nodded, and walked away. But the rest of the day, I couldn't shake the image. Not of Sarah, not of the boys, of the fire I used to keep burning. Now they were sitting in the dark. One night, 2 months after the last message, the buzzer rang. Emily was already asleep. I answered. "Sarah." She stood in the hallway like a photograph that had faded. Paler, smaller. Her voice was thin. "I'm not here to beg," she said. I didn't respond. "I just wanted you to know. Jake's working again. Lucas is in therapy. I got a part-time job." Still, I said nothing. She looked down, then back at me. "I shouldn't have let them talk to you like that." I crossed my arms. "You didn't just let them. You trained them." She flinched. "That's not fair." "Yes," I said. "It is." She looked like she wanted to say more. Her mouth opened, then closed. Her eyes brimmed, but no tears fell. "I miss you," she said. "No, you miss the safety I brought. That's different. I miss who we were." "We never were anything, Sarah. I just carried everything so you could pretend." The words landed heavy. She stepped back. "I hope Emily's okay." "She's better than okay." A pause. Then she nodded. "Well," she said, voice cracking, "good night." And she walked away. Later that night, I stood in Emily's doorway. She was half asleep, face soft, breathing slow. I watched her for a long moment, then whispered into the quiet. They chose comfort. We chose peace. And for once, I believed it. The mornings are still quiet, But now the silence feels earned. Not like a punishment, like a reward. I wake before Emily. Always have. I make coffee, open the blinds, let the light in slow. The apartment still smells faintly like wood polish and fabric softener. A clean place, a lived-in place. I keep it that way, because it's mine. The calendar on the wall has only two names now. Mine and hers. Appointments, school events, notes about groceries. No one else to consider. No birthdays I forget and get punished for. No ungrateful mouths to feed. No names spoken only when bills are due. Just a home. Ours. I used to think I needed a big family. Laughter echoing down hallways. Holidays around a full table. The clatter of plates. The mess of it all. I thought that's what love was. What legacy was. But love without respect. That's just indentured service with better furniture. I don't miss the big dinners. I don't miss being invisible at my own table. I don't miss Sarah's silence. The way she'd sip wine when the boys cut me down. Like cruelty was a flavor she could pair with chicken. I don't miss Lucas asking for my car keys like he was entitled. I don't miss Jake rolling his eyes when I asked him to take out the trash. I don't miss hearing my real dad. Like it was a sword I was supposed to fall on. Again and again. They were never my sons. They made that clear. What I was a sponsor. A shadow with a wallet. Until I wasn't. One weekend, Emily and I drove to Michigan. Just the two of us. It wasn't planned. We just threw a couple of bags in the back seat and went. Slept in a roadside motel that smelled like old carpet and cigarettes. Ate at a diner with cracked vinyl booths. She said it felt like an adventure. We watched the lake in the morning. She leaned her head on my shoulder and said, "I like this version of us." "What version is that?" I asked. "The one without noise." I didn't have to ask what she meant. I remembered the noise too. The slammed doors, the constant tension, the weight of being in someone else's house, even while I paid for it. That house was never mine. It was a museum of someone else's past. Sarah's marriage, their father's absence, a shrine to resentment. Here, in this small life we've built, every sound means something. Every laugh, every word at dinner, every cup placed gently in the sink. It's not a performance. It's not a bribe. It's just life. Finally, and Emily's growing into herself. She reads more now, talks freely, plays music without headphones. The way she once tiptoed through Sarah's house. I realize now that it wasn't fear. It was rejection. She didn't belong. And neither did I. Now, she paints. She leaves little notes on the fridge. Need more peanut butter, or I cleaned the bathroom. You're welcome. And once, tucked between the cereal boxes, I found a slip of paper that read, "I'm glad it's just us." Kept it. A letter came in the mail last week. Handwritten. From Jake. I almost didn't open it. It was short. 2 paragraphs. He said he was sorry. Said he didn't understand what I'd done for them until it stopped. Said he missed me. That part made me laugh, not cruelly. Just softly. Like someone watching a clock finally catch up. He ended it with, "I hope we can talk sometime. I'd like to understand what I didn't see back then." I haven't written back. Maybe one day. Maybe not. Because here's what people don't tell you. Not every story needs a reconciliation. Some just need an ending. And mine came the night I closed that oven, slid the roast into the fridge, and left the table where no one saw me. Sarah never remarried. She texts sometimes. "Hope you're doing well. Emily looked great in that picture." Once she wrote, "I wish I'd done it all differently." I didn't reply, not because I hate her, but because I no longer owe her my response. She raised 2 boys to see love as weakness, to see provision as something owed, to see gratitude as optional. She chose comfort over truth. Now she lives with the result. And I live with mine. Peace. One night, Emily and I were washing dishes. She was singing, not loudly, just under her breath. Something soft, something hers. Then she looked at me and said, "Do you think we'll ever live with other people again?" I thought about it, about what that would mean. "If we do," I said, "they'll have to earn it." She nodded, then passed me the last plate. "So here's what I've learned. You can give and give and give your time, your money, your presence, and still be seen as temporary. Because presence doesn't matter if the people you're showing up for don't value it. You can raise someone else's children. You can show up when their father doesn't. You can pay their tuition, fix their car, cook their meals, teach them how to hold a fork, hold a job, hold themselves with dignity. But if they decide you're nothing, then you're nothing, until you stop trying to prove otherwise. Would you have stayed? Would you have kept feeding the mouths that called you a ghost? Would you have stood there at the table while your daughter was told to disappear? I ask because I did. For years. And I've only just now forgiven myself for it. So no, I didn't lose a family. I built one. With 2 chairs, 2 mugs, and 1 rule. Respect is not optional. Because if real family means I suffer in silence, then I'd rather be alone. And I'm not. I have Emily. And she has me. And this time, no one eats until we're both at the table.